Okay, so I made this video before all the Joshua David Evans stuff came out. Like, I made this a couple of days ago. And I just thought that I needed to add this to the start of this video because Joshua David Evans, you are the saddest man alive. Okay? And there's a lot of sad men, okay? But Joshua David Evans, you are a sad, sad, sad little man. You're 42 years old. You have a whole ass life outside of the Colleen Ballinger situation, like the whole outside of your marriage to her. You've been divorced from her for what? 10 years, I want to say? Maybe a little bit less than that. You went on Adam's Chronically Online podcast, you were in the Swoop documentary, you did all that back, at the time. And we thought that you and Adam were cool. Just when we thought the VidCon situation couldn't get any more crazy, the mind boggles, because not only does this man, like I say, have a whole ass life outside of the situation and should have moved on by now. As far as I was aware, I thought that he, like Adam, wanted to move on from the situation, to then find out that not only has he signed up for this documentary that we talk about in the main part of this video, but also his wife. In what world are we living in? This man is delusional. Are we for real right now? And not only that, again, we thought that he was moved on from this, that he actually didn't like what Colleen was doing, and was on Adam's side, and yet is now in his comment section, 20-year difference between them, but he is in his comment section and his DMs using an emoji that used to be making fun of the Colleen Ballinger fans. That fucking fuck-ass sunflower emoji. What world? I would hate to be Adam right now with all this contradictory information going on around me, because sometimes you just have to think, wow, some people you just can't trust, huh? You just can't trust some bitches. Okay? He's threatening him to confront him at VidCon. Seriously? Seriously. Wow. And in my mind, I'm thinking, was anything that he said about Colleen true? Was any of the stuff he said against, being anti-Colleen true? At this point? Was he ever authentic, or was he just as narcissistic as Colleen? And Adam made a very good point in his video that was neither Rachel nor Colleen have been popping up in his comment section since all this kicked off. Yeah, obviously we had the toxic gossip train situation, and I talk about in the main part of this video Rachel's weird response where she again is doubling down and saying that Colleen did nothing wrong, and she was accused of some really false, really horrible things, but falsely accused, right? We talk about that in the main part of this video, but they've not been directly DMing or trying to get in contact with Adam about this. Joshua has. And, I feel like this is kind of a similar situation to what happened with Rosanna Pansino. Personally, there are parallels, there are similarities. And this is why you have to be so careful about who you trust, especially in this industry, because people are narcs. And they can hide it very well until something like this happens. And then he's coming out begging Adam to be like, come on, you want to. This is disgusting. This is infuriating, and I feel really bad for Adam. And as I say in the main part of this video, respect for the way you're handling this situation, Adam, if you're watching this. But anyway, I just wanted to add this part of the video onto the start of what we talk about in the rest of it, because I feel like the points that I make just in the video that I made a couple of days ago are still relevant and are still good points to make, so I'm gonna obviously include that. But I just wanted to add this bit on to the front of this video because all this new information has now come to light and my mind is blown and I feel horrible for Adam. And again, it's well, what's gonna happen at VidCon? Can we just have one peaceful VidCon? Please. Everyone's out here trying to ruin this opportunity for Adam, right? And it's all to do with the Colleen situation, and it's just crazy. But anyway, enjoy the rest of this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And Adam, if you're watching this, we stand with you. This is a horrible situation. And Joshua David Evans, grow the fuck up. You are far too grown for this. And we thought you were over this situation and wanted to move on. Anyway, enjoy the rest of the video. As a mucker and fellow content creator, I already had quite a lot of respect for Adam McIntyre on this side of the platform, but after the 2 videos I watched this morning whilst I was getting ready to film today, that respect has only gone up. And I just wanted to make this video to talk about why, because truly, people should just be leaving Adam McIntyre alone. Like, why? This situation is insane, and it has disturbed me. It's blown my mind, and again, my respect for him has grown significantly, and I just wanted to make this video and explain why a little bit, okay? So we can all relate on this level, because I'm sure those of you who have watched the Harry Daniels video as well as his latest video on Rachel Ballinger, although most of the video was talking about something else, which we're going to get to. You know, the way he's handled those situations, I applaud it. Honestly, I applaud it. You know, after the VidCon situation, you know, I made a video when that all first came out, which did really well. Adam was so gracious to share the video, follow me back on Instagram. Like, it was a nice little moment for us all to all come together in support as a community. And then I made another video when that was then overturned. You know, we all slapped the VidCon team across the face in their comment sections and was like, what the hell are you doing? And they actually turned around and was like, oh yeah, what the hell are we doing? Why were we doing this? And decided to do the right thing and uninvite the Ballingers from VidCon, which significantly improved the safety of Adam and also the fans. So, you know, we talked about in that video that was more the safety of the fans I was really concerned about, because the Ballinger fans are insane. So after that, I thought, okay, we're good, we're chill. TwitchCon was a good time, okay, despite the scare of his wallet getting stolen. If you've seen the vlogs, you know. But apart from that, you know, I felt really good that we were on like a nice smooth stretch along to VidCon. Like, it's not that far away now that we're in June, and I just thought, this is nice. We're enjoying this period of time on the channel. And then Harry Daniels decided to do what he's done, okay? Those of you who watched the video, you already know, and we're gonna get into this. And then Rachel Ballinger has turned around and said something, but that's not even the worst part of it, you know. But we're gonna start with the Harry Daniels side of things, okay? Because Adam has received criticisms about the way that he treats his animals in the past, okay? He's addressed it in vlogs. Some people, like when he first moved into the London apartment, I think it was, and he was getting some comments on his YouTube videos saying, like, are you even walking the dogs? Like, what's the situation with the dogs? We barely ever see them, like, go outside. Like, trying to say that he was basically neglecting the dogs in some way in terms of their needs to go on walks and stuff, which I think has been very, very good at addressing the difference between Bonnie and Dolly and the way that they interact, especially with other dogs, Bonnie being kind of the problem child a little bit. And, you know, that's all been fine. And we've not really had anything else that's gone beyond that. Until Harry Daniels, this bitter little motherfucker, has decided to come out and claim that he was abusing his 2 cats, Tyler and Milo, back in 2022? 2023, was it? Like, first of all, why are you dragging this situation up from years ago? That should be said. But also, the whole document isn't even something he created. He was tipped off by somebody. Again, I would like to know who sent him that. Whatever evil, scheming individual decided to do this. But, you know, he went through the document in the video, and it's just quotes of him actually caring for the animals. Like, it's not, and it's tried to spin into something like he killed his cats. They got FIP. It wasn't something that could have really been prevented. It's a mutation that is very unfortunate and very tragic, and unfortunately it was caught too far along for any kind of real treatment to happen. And Adam, like I said in the video, he was 20 years old. He's, 23 now, 24 now, like around that age, I think. And he was 20 then. And I agree, he handled it very well, but he, you know, didn't know that it was contagious. that he could catch it from that Milo would inevitably get like the same fate. And I remember watching those videos at the time. I've been a mucker since 2023, since the Colleen situation, and I remember watching those vlogs, and I didn't really know a lot about Adam at the time, but I understood, obviously he has pets, and this was a really tragic thing that happened, and I never for 1 minute thought something's up here. Like, I thought, oh my god, this is a really tragic thing to be happening, especially so soon, like, so close together. So it was Tyler first in Brighton, then he moved to Manchester, which, okay, personally, I love Manchester, but Adam, I know it didn't work out for you. But the tragedy of Milo then becoming ill, like, pretty much straight away when they moved to Manchester, is heartbreaking. And when I was watching that video, that's how I felt. It was heartbreaking. It was emotional. It was moving. And Adam made such a good point in putting himself through that to demonstrate, like, hey, this is bullshit. This is lies. This is defamation. I've never heard him be so angry and, like, threaten somebody basically with legal action before, but, like, I agree. This is ridiculous. How did he just manage to just post this on his story? I'm talking about, Harry Daniels. How did he post this on his story just, like, on a whim? Because you confronted him in a club about a K-pop band. This is how this all started. It was from Cat's Eye. The narcissist. This is the thing. I've been on this platform for a long time, and I've heard a lot about people in the industry and how they can treat each other, and certain people, certain characters you get. But this is a new level of narcissism I don't think we've properly experienced before. This went from Cat's Eyes only, still together because of me, to Adam McIntyre as an animal abuser. How? I'm so, like, that was one of my main reactions when I was watching that video and learning about the situation, was how on earth have we got here? How on earth have we got from one place to the next is insane, okay? So I just wanted to point that out, because I'm sure I'm not the only person who reacted like that. So that's the first thing. And I really want to, like, applaud Adam for, again, putting himself through those videos, because that must have been horrendous. I can't imagine having to revisit those memories and that heartbreak. And there was a few times where I had to go off camera because it was just too hard. And yeah, I mean, as a cat owner myself, I don't know how you did that, Adam. I have no idea how you did that. That was incredibly, incredibly brave. And again, made such an important point that it's insane that point has to be made. But this guy is insane. Like, what the hell? I'm only laughing out of kind of, like, shock, by the way, and kind of being uncomfortable, because, again, that video was incredibly uncomfortable to watch. He was saying it, like, several times in the video. I know this is uncomfortable, but this is such an important point. And, as well, this is one of the only times where I can say a YouTuber donating to a charity is not just being a virtual signal. Off the back of the whole James Charles situation, this is completely different. Because, yeah, Adam has decided to take all of the money that he's made off the Harry Daniels videos and donate them to the FIP UK charity to help the families and everybody, like, with their cats, to, like, save their cats, essentially, which I think is incredible. And, if I had the money, I'd be doing that as well, but I'm a small creator. But I also urge those the mockers and anybody watching this to go over to Harry Daniels' content and tell him to start donating to FIP charities. Because this is insane. Do I think he's actually going to do that? Maybe, if he wants to do, like, a James Charles situation, but I don't think he will. Because, again, the way that he's taken, I know the reason that Cat's Eye is still together, to Adam McIntyre as an animal abuser, because he confronted him in a club. The mind boggles how we got here. The level of evil and the level of narcissism is absolutely incomprehensible. It's insane. So that was the first thing I wanted to touch on, because that video was incredibly powerful. And then we move on to the Colleen Ballinger of it all. The Colleen Ballinger documentary in 2026 of it all. Because the way that you would have to be, you would have to not have a life outside of this situation to agree to do a documentary. I don't know who's agreed to do this. Adam McIntyre, he said that someone has agreed to do this. He is not the person who's agreed to do this, and that's why my respect for him has gone threefold because of that. And the way he was crashing out in that video, which in my opinion was incredibly valid, because the way that this team, and I bet it was like some kind of big TV network of some kind or streaming service or something like that. It's probably like Hulu or something like that. But still, like some kind of big organization, like big company has like turned around and said, well, a YouTube documentary is very different to what we're doing. Have you seen the Swoop series? Have you seen the level of production that goes into the Swoop documentaries? Have you seen the Swoop videos? Now, I will admit, I've not seen all of them. I've only seen the bits that Adam has covered in his videos, because he revisited them a while ago now, like a couple of months ago now, and I watched those videos, and it was really good. I was so surprised, because at the time, when all this stuff was happening, yeah, I became a mucker in 2023, but I didn't watch the Swoop documentary. I was just going off what Adam was saying, and, you know, I will hold my hand up and say that, but, you know, when I was watching Adam's videos, revisiting them, I was like, oh, god damn. Oh, these are amazing. And this is where I feel like the power in content creators is so strong, because yes, we don't necessarily have all the big budget of all these big documentary makers, but the way we can make something feel so much more authentic. Have you ever watched a documentary on like a really serious topic and you've gone, this feels a little bit too overproduced? Because I feel like that's how I feel with a lot of them. Me and my boyfriend, we've recently finished watching the documentaries on the Michael Jackson allegations and all that case and stuff that was happening, like the new one that came out in February, which was like very on time for the for the biopic. And there was a lot of times in those where, I mean, overall, Channel 4 did quite a good job in kind of covering, I guess, the details, but there was something in that, and some of the people they chose, and the way that they were talking, just made it feel a little bit like, there's a bias here, there is a twist here, and it doesn't feel quite as real as perhaps it should do. Okay, if you've seen them, you know. If you haven't, I would recommend going to see they're on YouTube. From Channel 4, it's MJ The Trial, I think is what it's called. I would recommend going and watching those documentaries, because they are very, very interesting. But that's how I feel with a lot of these documentaries, as I say, on quite serious topics. And what Swoop was able to do was properly connect with people, properly make people feel safe in a situation where they've been through something horrible when they were young, and, you know, the dangers of a parasocial relationship were covered so well in that. And, you know, Adam has said repeatedly, you know, he has so much respect for Swoop because of the way she handled that situation, and you can tell in the way that she's interviewing him in the videos. I don't think you would have got that from a big corporation type documentary. So there's that element. But again, like, it's so insulting to turn around and be like, well, we're not a YouTuber. Like, you're better than them. Like, you're essentially still making content, just on a bigger scale. We're all content creators. If you make video content, especially if it's a documentary, then you're just a content creator. Just with a much bigger budget and much more expensive equipment. And maybe with better resources, but you're still a content creator. So don't act like you're... And plus, a lot of these documentaries do end up on YouTube in some form, or some kind of streaming platform. So don't act like you're better than us. Don't do it. It's disgusting. It's insulting. And unfortunately, that's just the kind of society that we live in. But I feel like at this point, with how long that YouTube's existed and how long people have been making careers and jobs out of this, that we would have more respect for the content creating industry. But apparently not. Will we ever know who these people are? Maybe. Because Adam said he's probably going to make a dedicated video on this. But there was that element to it that was just like, whoa. But also, the thing that really upped my respect for him was he was literally like, Colleen doesn't deserve this. Which that was a mic drop moment. That was a mic drop because, like you were saying, it was like, how the hell did you get me to defend Colleen Ballinger? And it's like, yeah, that's the point where we're at. And anybody that wants to accuse Adam of the fact that he farmed that whole situation for views, despite the fact that he had quite a significant community before 2023, that just disproves that completely. Because if he was farming this for views, he would have said yes. He wouldn't have told us, first of all. It would have just come out when it came out. But also, he would have done it. If that was, if he was so spiteful still, despite not having an apology from any of these people, like when he finally covered the Rachel clip at the end, she was like, my sister was falsely accused of all these things. Yes, there was a parasocial relationship, but all the terrible stuff? No. Like that, which obviously not surprising because they all defend each other and they're all just as bad as each other. But again, if he was all about that situation for views, he would have just done the documentary, but he didn't. And he publicly came out and said, I'm not doing it because Colleen does not deserve this. Nobody in that situation deserves this anymore. In 3 years after the whole situation was resolved, and he was like, where were you in 2023? And it's like, exactly, that's correct. If you really cared that much about the situation, where were you in 2023? Why now in 2026? Granted, that we know that Colleen is trying to make a comeback, but she's not doing very well. She's like barely filling the venues that Adam was literally in like last year doing the Chronically Online tour. It's like, where were you? But I think because that she's trying to do that, they've gone, oh, maybe we can make some money off the situation. But Adam is not participating in that. And the way, again, he said that Colleen doesn't deserve this, boom. Way more respect on that situation. And I already had quite a lot of respect for him on that situation as it was. But the way he took that attitude to that kind of opportunity coming his way, yes, that is the correct way to handle that if you are genuine about the situation. And I applaud him for that. So yeah, Adam McIntyre should be left the fuck alone to do what he does best, and that is spilling the damn tea. But hey, he said there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that I'm sure we're probably going to hear about. Adam, if you're watching this, hey, we love and support you still. And I personally wish it was all kind of smooth sailing for you. I know that you are. I know you don't like getting angry at people behind the scenes. Having to be on calls, getting really frustrated. I know I wouldn't like to be in that situation, so I can't imagine how it is for you. But it's gonna be fine. VidCon is not that far away. We can push through this. We can have a good time. Okay, and keep doing what you're doing. Muckers, again, with no hate. Like Adam said, no hate, but go over to Harry Daniels and tell him to donate to the FIP charities in whatever way, okay? And we keep it pushing. Because we moved on from the Colleen Ballinger situation. Yeah, we can touch on her occasionally because it's fun too, but we moved on. And I will see you guys in my next video.